my going into cricket was absolutely accidental. Early days, I said, look, I'm not a cricketer. I'm not. They said, no, you come and play cricket. As I say, that's why I call it my destiny. I didn't know. I really don't know how to bat, but I was able to hit the ball, I suppose. In the first match, I went as an opener. I made 60 runs, to my own surprise. And then 2 matches later, I made 70 runs. So they said, well, you said you can't bat. You're making runs. So I became a permanent opening batsman for the college. And for several years, I was the opening batsman for the university also. Cricket was thrust upon me, put it that way.
Hello, this is the New Indian Express, and we are here with CD Gopinath, the only living cricketer from India's first Test winning side. From an accidental cricketer, Gopinath earned the India Test cap with his splendid displays in various matches across India. Later, he became an Indian cricket selector and played a big role in spotting many talents, including Gundappa Viswanath. At 95, he closely follows the game and never misses watching India's matches live on televisions. Welcome, Mr. CD Gopinath, to this interview.
Thank you. Thanks.
How did your Indian cricket team entry happen?
Into the Tests. Okay, that's very interesting. You see, I got picked for the university and I made a lot of runs. Then they sent me for trials to Bombay for the All India universities against the visiting touring side. The visiting touring side plays one match against the All India university team. I got selected in that and I went to Calcutta and played that match. The visiting side, which had Frank Worrell and all those people, Ramadan was a wonder bowler. They were all in that. And I got picked to play for that match. So I went to Calcutta to play that match. And okay, as luck would have it, I was the top scorer for the Indian team. I made 93 runs and had a very good innings. And what I was very happy about, I played Ramadan, who at that time was considered a bowler that nobody can figure out whether he's bowling an off break or a leg break. And it was true. And that again is a small story because when I went into bat, it so happened Ramadan was bowling. And I happened to be the non-striker. So I was at this end, Ramadan was bowling to another player. One hole over he bowled, and I was watching his hand to see, why is he a wonder bowler? What's he doing with his fingers? I was watching him very closely because if you're a non-striker, you're there. And I came to the conclusion in that 1 over as to what was his off break and what was his leg break. I would say more on watching how the ball travels and all. And I just happened to be correct. So that wonder bowler, about my 93, I must have made 60, 70 runs out of that wonder bowler because I figured out what he was bowling. And once you figure out what, he was a slow medium, I could hit him for so many square cuts. Square cut was my favorite shot. And I hit him so many square cuts. And Worrell bowled and everybody else bowled. So I scored 93 runs. Then came back to Chennai, Madras at the time. The same touring side normally plays the state team in Madras. Every state they play. They came and played in Madras. Against them in Madras, I scored 85. Of course, because that was a touring team coming from outside, there were a lot of writers and cricket writers for the various newspapers in England and everything else, they were all there. So they all wrote in praise of my batting. And they said, we can't understand that he's not even playing for India. So they wrote a lot. How can this man not be selected to play for India? And believe it or not, to such an extent, one writer wrote and said, we understand it's because he's playing for Madras. He should shift and play for Bombay, then he'll be in the Indian team. Is what one writer wrote in that. So when all of them wrote, the selectors had no choice but to pick me, not for the Madras test, but in the last test was in Kanpur. So they picked me for the Kanpur test. So I went to Kanpur, and in Kanpur, I mean, I couldn't believe it. I was with the team, with Merchant, all the big names of India. I was a junior most, or I was team with them. And in Kanpur, I nearly managed to draw the match between Mushtaq Ali and I. We had a more than 100-run partnership. I made 66 not out. Mushtaq Ali got out, and the match went. So that's how I got into the Indian team, because I so consistently kept on scoring against them. They had to pick me. So that happened in Kanpur. So once I made that 66, I was like part of the Indian team. Sort of thing. And that's how the next year, England came to India on their tour. I played 3 test matches for England.
You faced top class bowlers of that time, such as Ramadan, Frank Worrell, Brian Statham, and Lindwall. Uh, can you please rewind those memories with them? And to start off, how did you read Ramadan, the wonder bowler?
As I say, it was a bit of it was not scientific, it was a little bit blind thinking. I noticed that in that one over, I watched him. I noticed that whenever he bowled a ball where he gave it a little air and it had a loop, it was a leg break. And whenever he bowled a faster ball, it was an off break. And to some extent, it was a blind sort of, but I noticed that's how it happened. Once I figured that out, and luckily for me, it was right. And it was easy. Because as soon as I bowled the ball, I knew whether it was going to go that way or this way, which they found, generally everybody found very difficult to identify. So it was that, but it was a good thing that I had that one over as a non-striker, which helped me to figure this out. Yeah.
You scored your first international runs off Frank Worrell. Can you tell us more about that and also about your friendship?
You see, Frank Worrell he captained West Indies. He was a lovely human being, he was a lovely fellow. I first met him in Calcutta when I played first, I think. I don't know, something, normally we players after the game, we sit down and have a cup of tea or whatever it is. Something must have clicked. We got to know each other. And then they came to Madras. Frank Wall saw me playing this. Then Madras, my hometown, so we became even more friendly. And we became casual and friendly and joking and that sort of thing. So when we went to Kanpur, and when I walked in, he told me, I'll give you a long hop to break your duck. I didn't believe it. And he gave me a long hop. And I hit him for a 4. He said, I'll get you out now. I said, okay. But I made 66 not out, so he didn't get me out. In a short while, we played a lot of matches. I played against Frank Wall. And as I say, probably our somewhere we thinking was same or whatever, we became good friends. And after all the matches I played against him in India, thereafter I followed playing a match in Colombo. where they had a combined India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka team to play the same touring side. And I played there in that match there. And as I say, by then, every evening we used to meet up and get together, have a chat and all that. And it just so happened, somehow after dinner at 10 o'clock, after 10 o'clock, Frank came to me and said, look, I've seen this people pulling rickshaws and taking people. I want to travel in one because I want to have that experience. I said, you left it a bit late. The next morning we were all leaving. So he said, no, I can go now. You go to bed, I'll go in one of the rickshaws for a half an hour and come back. So I said to him, no, you can't do that. He said, why not? I said, look, these rickshaw chaps, I don't know where he'll take you. He might have something and he may hit you on your head. And he said, come on, I can handle it. I said, don't think of all that. It's too late. You can't go alone. He said, don't worry, you go to bed. So I said, no, I'm not going to let you go alone at after 10 o'clock at night in a new place in Colombo. You don't know. You don't know anything. And I can't take that risk. So I'll come with you. So we got a rickshaw. So we both went. And I made sure that the rickshaw fellow only went on the main roads where there's a lot of traffic and so on. And he didn't take us to the side roads or anything like that. And we came back. And so that was, so I got to know him very well. And again, later on, of course, I went to England with a team. He was playing in the league there. So we met up there. He lived there. I met his wife. I met his daughter. And he normally in the Lancashire League, they have one benefit match for the professional. He was the professional there. And he said to me, Gopi, I want you to attend that match, my benefit match. So I said, yeah. So I got permission from the Indian team and I attended his benefit match. And normally in the benefit match, they take a hat around the whole public watching to collect funds for the professional. So I offered to do that job for him. So I went around collecting money for his benefit. So that was, as I say, it was nice. And strangely, I don't know how life takes you, how these things happen. West Indies, years again, many years later. Not that we corresponded or wrote to each other, nothing like that. West Indies were playing a tour. They were in India on a tour, and they were playing in Madras. When Sobers and all had come, they were playing in Madras. So Frank came down here for that match. And match was that day over, and next day he was going back. So I said, come home and have dinner with me. And so he came home and had dinner. And it was not a party or anything like that, just him and my family were there. And he was just telling me, for the last week, 10 days, I've been feeling strangely. I'm feeling unnerved. I'm feeling low. I'm feeling this. I don't know what it is. So I said, look, when you go back, you better check up and, that sort of thing. And next morning he left back to the West Indies. And 4 or 5 days later, I see in the newspapers, he passed away. I was shattered. I was really shattered. With one, he was such a good friend. And he didn't know. Apparently, he had leukemia. And they hadn't even diagnosed it. And anyway, that was the story of our friendship. Yeah.
And also, how tough was it to play Brian Statham, sir?
Brian Statham was an extremely good bowler. He was one of those absolutely accurate bowlers. He could, they even would say that if you put a coin somewhere when he's bowling and ask him to hit the coin, you can do it. I didn't see that. They used to say, very accurate bowler, fast, very fast, and he was one of their top bowlers there. And again, first innings, I quite, managed to bat quite well. Second innings, we were running into a big problem. We were almost losing the test match because second innings, towards the end, the few players, Indian players, got out, and we were facing, I think we were 6 down or 7 down for, I can't remember the exact score, but for some very small score, and we were almost going to lose the match. Luckily, I stayed on. I played Statham a lot. I made 42. But more than the 42, the time it took, then they didn't have enough time to go and make that score. I made 42, and I think Vinoo Mankad made 40. We both, at 7th or 8th wicket, we managed to hold and save that match. So that was a good, to save the side. We didn't have a chance to win, but we saved the side.
How was it playing against Richie Bernard?
Richie, Richie Bennett was a very, very good bowler and a very clever, he was a very, very clever batsman. He got me out, I can't remember exactly, but I think he got me out by bowling a very much faster ball and a little short. So I went for a hook, and the ball was too fast, came in too early. And I think both the innings he got me out like that.
Please tell us about your friendship with Ray Lindwall, one of the greatest fast bowlers in the history of cricket.
With some people, your equations get right and you get to become friends so easily. I don't know, Lindwall much older to me. I don't know, we got quite friendly. And on the last day, we got very sentimental about it. His action and his rhythm and all that was very, very great. And merely as a cricketer, for me to play Lindwall, even if I got out to him, I felt very, very good about it. And when we parted, we both exchanged our caps. I gave him my India cap, he gave me his Lindwall cap, which I've got still in Kunu. He gave me his cap with his name there, Lindwall, Ray Lindwall. Like Frank Worrell again, he became good. But of course, there I only met him once in my lifetime for about 3-4 days. So I didn't know him that much. And he went back to Australia and retired. He never played after that.
You took the winning catch in India's first win. Will you please take us through those historic moments?
Last day, as the match was progressing, when I had to come into bat, the captain said to me, I'm going to declare, captain said to me, I'm going to declare, so go there and score fast. Get as many runs as you can quickly because I'm going to declare. So don't worry about getting out. So I said, all right. So I went in and I started hitting them all the time. I made only 35 runs, but the 35 runs had 7 fours in them because I was forcing the score. So I felt, okay, he wants me to force more and I will go forcing. I tried to force more and I got out. And when I came back in, when I was playing, Umriga was my partner. He was about, might have been 50 or 60 or something. And while I was scoring 35, he was scoring something. So when I got out, he was in his 70 or something. And the captain never declared because he was waiting for Umriga to get his 100. If I had known then that that was the situation, then I wouldn't have. I virtually threw my wicket away because he wanted me to go fast. But he didn't declare. The thing went on until Umriga got his 100. So I was a bit upset that he needn't have pushed me like that because I could have also scored some more runs. Anyway, it didn't matter. We won. Then anyway, after that he declared, after he got 100, it was okay. It was all right. So that was, yeah, but that catch was absolutely memorable. Catch was not a difficult catch. It was on the boundary line, and I was so thrilled with it. And I still have the ball that I caught. I never gave it to anybody. I took the ball back with me, and it's in my Kunu home.
Vinoo Mankad and Ghulam Ahmed were the stars of the match. Can you please tell us more about them?
You see, I would say that was India's first ever Test victory, and really, the people who won that match for us were Vinoo Mankad and Ghulam Ahmed by their superb bowling. The English batsman is struggling to handle Vinoo Mankad and Ghulam Ahmed. Those were the two who won the match for us, not our batting. Those two players were. And it was, you see, Vinoo Mankad was a kind of a bowler. When he bowled, he knew exactly where the ball will come back after the man bat. And I was just a little wide off, mid off or something. I was standing. Vinu said, "Will you just move about 3 feet from there, 3 or 4 feet, move to your left?" And then he bowled the ball. The next ball came straight into my hands. He knew exactly the ball he was going to bowl and the shot that man is going to play and where that ball will go. And that ball came straight into my hands. He had so much ball control. He's a very slow bowler. You think you can go and hit him, you can't. I don't know. I've played against him also. When he bowls a ball, he gives a lot of air. You think the ball is up to you, but when you go to play, it takes a dip down. He was an amazing bowler.
During your playing days, cricketers didn't get the opportunity to stay together in hotels. Can you please tell us about it? And how did you finalize team strategies those days?
Unlike now, in those days, even the cricket board didn't have money. I mean, the only money that the test matches gave were the crowds that came to watch. They paid for coming inside. That was the income. There was no other income for the cricket board. It was the gate money. If it's a good Sunday, good match, there was a big rush, the stadium was full, they earned a lot. So the cricket board didn't have enough money. And in those days, um, to put up two teams in a hotel, they couldn't afford to. That kind of money they did not earn from the gate money too. So what did they do? It was at that time they used to call it billeting. Billeting means this happened not only here, Madras, Calcutta. I've been billeted several times. Say if I am playing a test match in Calcutta, uh, the Calcutta cricket people will go around and ask South Indians, "Look, I've got one player from South India. Can you put him up as your guest, house guest or whatever?" So some South Indians say, "Yeah, okay, he can come and stay in my house." So they'll tell me, "You give me the address, you go there." Then somebody, so all the players were in different homes. Whoever felt that they could put up one person, sometimes they even put up two persons. It used to be. Then it didn't cost the board any money. So that was the way they had to handle their finance. And they did this to the foreign players also. The English team used to stay with various Englishmen who used to work here in their homes. So what happened with that? The players never met as a team. We were all in different places. We all got to the cricket ground 1 hour before the game starts. We have a little bit of nets and then go and play. Why I'm coming to say that is, they used to say, how did you beat England? What was the strategy, your team's strategy? So I said, there's no strategy. Because we didn't even get together and talk about what we are going to do. At those days, the only strategy was the strategy of the captain. The captain took you in and he told you, you bowl, you stay here, you bat, you do. So as a team, you did not like they do now. Now what have they got? A batting coach, a fielding coach, a bowling coach, a head coach, and they plan, or it's supposed to plan anyway, on strategies and all that. Those days, nothing. We went there, we had net, we got into the ground, played, came back. And in fact, several people, even foreigners, have asked me, how did you celebrate the victory? You have champagne. And I said, champagne? Those days, we didn't know champagne and all that. We celebrated the victory by all of us saying, oh my God, we won this match, very good, well played, and we all went home. That's all we did. There's nothing more to celebrate for us like that. So it's a matter of, today is a different issue. But mind you, I'm not saying it's bad or anything like that. But the whole this circumstance have changed now.
Did players ever get paid?
We were paid a first class ticket by train from Chennai to Delhi. We normally, those days, Chennai to Delhi, you take 2 days to go, 2 days to come. And 5 days match, 1 day rest day. We'll have to go 2 days earlier. So almost nearly 10 days altogether. And for those days, we were paid 250 rupees altogether. It used to be called smoke money. And what were the 250 rupees to? We would stay with people or whatever it is, things. So it was like pocket money, Or some of us used to feel that some host is paying, so we'll take their family out for dinner or something, out of being nice. Then we'll spend that money. So we were paid 250 rupees for 10 days and a first class train fare to go and play a test match. So that is one of the reasons why you could not at that time, by any imagination, survive from the income in the game. There's no way. You couldn't play cricket and think you can make a life out of it. That was not on. So you had to have some other income. Without that, you won't survive. Most of my cricketing days, I worked for a British company. And only if they agreed to let me go, I could go and play there. But luckily, I had a British company. They were very keen on cricket, so they let me go whenever I wanted. So I had no problem. But some people had problems because their office said, no, you can't leave now. So cricket could not, it was not a game where people can make a living out of it.
And you mentioned there was not much celebration.
At that time, we didn't know how to celebrate. For us, everything was a luxury and, that sort of thing. It's not like now there's so much money and there's champagne and there's this and that. But strangely, it's a very funny thing when you think of it, the fact that we played, the fact that we were paid next to nothing, but we were not upset with it. To me, or to many of the players, the honor of playing for your country, why should we be paid for that? There's no need to pay you money to play for your country. It's the greatest honor one can get. And that itself is the highest payment you can ever get. So we did not grumble, or we were not upset that we'd get nothing. We didn't expect anything. I said, why should somebody pay us to be chosen to play for my country? The honor for me is so great. So it never occurred to us a thought that we are not getting any benefits out of it. We didn't want any benefit. We played because we played for our country.
And also, how was the reception at home, sir?
Everything was at a much lower key. Now, in those days, if somebody takes an ordinary catch, everybody said, well done, good. Today, what happens? Somebody takes a catch, the 10 people go and jump on him. They all shout, all jump up and down and make a big this thing of it. If somebody makes 50 runs, everybody makes a big show of it. See, those days, we were all taught to keep our feelings to ourselves and not exhibit them to the public. It never used to be like that. We held our inner feelings to ourselves and never expressed them in the open. Whatever you've done on the field. But then it's not cricket, even football, if you watch. When a fellow scores a goal, the whole team goes and jumps on him. That is a modern trend where you express your happiness, your feelings. You don't. But in our time, it was bad manners to do that. You were taught to be stable and not show your inner feelings outside the outside world. It's almost like a cultural change. Today in all games, tennis, everything, how they jump up and that thing and this and that. It's a funny thing. I'll tell you in that connection. When I went in to release that book, Raman's book, Chennai Super Kings book, the whole Chennai Super Kings team was there, including Dhoni and all their coaches. Ashwin was there. Somebody else was there. They were all there at the function at the Chola Hotel. Not that Chola, but Chola, and I was the chief guest releasing the book. And right in front of me, Dhoni, they were all sitting there. I had to speak, so I spoke. And I said, of course, my favorite team in the IPL is Chennai Super Kings. So everybody said, yeah. I said, no. Not for the reason that they come from Chennai. I said, that's not the reason. And not because they were successful, they won it somewhere. I said, that's not the reason. So everybody said, what is it? I said, I'm saying this because of one man. And I said, that man is sitting in front of me here. And that was Dhoni. He was sitting in the front row. Here's Dhoni. So everybody is wondering, what am I saying? I said, I've been watching the IPL league all along. The one man who does not demonstrate, who does not, every time a wicket falls, jump 10 feet high. And not only that is not so bad, but a lot of them make very ugly gestures at the batsman. Very ugly. They point their finger out. If a batsman get out, you can't rub his nose on the ground. You can't insult the man. Lot of them do, as though the bowler went and did something very great. And I said, all the Chennai Super Kings thing, the only man who does not do that is Dhoni. And that is why I chose Chennai Super Kings as my favorite team. Because he does not strut around, jump about, point fingers at people. Some of them very, very ugly and very cheap. I mean, that batsman might have hit you for 10 sixes and he gets out, and then you point your finger at him when you get him out. Yeah, I feel it's degrading to for somebody to show such bad behavior. I said, why I chose Chennai Super Kings is because Dhoni is the one player that I've noticed doesn't do any of those things. Whether wicket falls, whatever it is, he is calm, collected, and doesn't go jumping around.
In 1952, you went to England and you had a standoff with Vijay Hazare. Can you tell me what happened there?
When we went to England with the team, we were 16 of us. And in the 16, I was the only one who could not or did not and could not speak Hindi. Because I was a local chap, Tamilian, I didn't know Hindi. All the others were Hindi-speaking people. So when we got there, generally, naturally, they all spoke in Hindi. I was the only fellow sitting there not knowing what they are talking about. They only spoke in Hindi. And I didn't know what they are even saying because I didn't know one word of Hindi. What happened was, in a match, the captain, I was fielding, the captain asked me to change my position, come a little closer to the left or right or whatever. He said all this to me, he shouted in Hindi. The captain knows I don't know Hindi, right? He asked me to do that. So I said, I didn't know what to do. So somebody else standing there, I said, what does he want me to do? So that man said, he wants you to come closer, which I did, came closer. And then at the end of the session, when we got to the pavilion, dressing room, captain was very angry with me. He said, what is this? I'm telling you to do something and you're not even attentive whatever. You come and see me in my room, in the hotel. I said, okay. So I went to his room in the hotel. So he said the same thing to me. I said, listen, you told me in Hindi. You know I don't know Hindi. How do you expect me to do this? Because I didn't know what you're saying to me. No, that's that's no excuse. So I said, I'm not giving an excuse. I'm telling you a practical problem. If you talk to me in Hindi and you know I don't know Hindi, how am I supposed to do that? I said, all you had to do was to tell me in English what you wanted me to do. I would have done that. So he said, if I told you in English, the batsman would have known that I'm moving you. Then I said to him, which was not a very clever thing to say, I thought we were playing cricket. The batsman should know where the fielders are. And when you move a fielder, the batsman should know that the fielder has been moved. Maybe as a junior player, I should not have. So he said to me, this is not Madras cricket. You see, I was just 20, 22 then, 21, 22. I also was a bit, So he said, that was not Madras cricket. I lost myself a bit. And I said, look, I don't know whether it's Madras cricket or Indian cricket. The cricket I play is cricket. So I said, listen, if you want to talk to me and you want to get a reaction from me, I'm afraid you'll have to talk to me in English. Otherwise, I can't do it. And I walked out of his room. Okay, that was not a very clever thing to do. So, so naturally, captain didn't take to me very well. And then, if you see the records, you'll find I went to England in the team. I was selected as a batsman. The whole of the English tour, which is 6 months, I batted at number 8 or number 9. When you're batting at number 8 or 9, you haven't got a wildest chance of making a decent score. Anyway, the captain put me down in the order, number 8, number 9. I went, I played whatever. Then what happened, that's when its whole thing got really bad. One match, you see, I don't know, this is later on, I'll speak about this. See, the biggest difference in cricket between at that time and now, in that time, wickets were not covered at all. During the match, before the match, after the match, wickets were not covered. Today you see how it's covered. Doesn't matter how much rain there is, the wicket and the ground is not affected. Those days, wickets were never covered, they were open. And when it rains and it gets wet, as soon as the outfield dries up, you have to go and bat. And in batting in cricket is the most difficult thing in a wet wicket. A wet wicket and a drying wicket is the most difficult thing to play as a batsman. Again, the biggest difference from those days to now is we had no protective giver. On a wet wicket, the ball of a good length will jump up straight to your face. And you had no helmet. It was not only dangerous, it was very difficult to handle. If the ball didn't keep to the height, it'll go up and so on. So one match, what happened, we had to go and bat on a wet wicket. So I think what the captain thought, early wickets, we'll have to make sacrifices. So he put me number 4. Because it's impossible to play in that condition. I couldn't believe when I saw the book. I was number 4 from number 8, number 9. So I was very excited because I was going number. That was my normal number, all my other matches, local matches, So I said, okay, it doesn't matter. It's a wet wicket. Let me show now that I can do something, even on a bad wicket. So I was very determined, all padded up, ready, anxious, waiting. It so happened, it's like, sending a night watchman. Like that, I was posted. Then it just so happened, the sun came out very bright. The wicket dried very fast. And it dried up quite a bit. And so it was not that bad. So when that happened, and the wicket fell, and I got up to go into bat, the captain said, no, you wait, let so-and-so go. You go next. I said, okay, I sat down. So he sent one of the those days Bombay dominated everything. One of the Bombay players to bat. He went off. Even then I was sitting and waiting, okay, instead of 4, I'll go 5, whatever. When the next wicket fell, I got up to go. He said, wait, you wait, let so-and-so go. By then, the wicket had dried. So there was no serious problem in batting. And he made me go from 4 to 5, 5 to 6, 6 to 7, 7 to 8. And finally, when I went, it was 8. I was I was almost in tears. So I got so upset. So I went to him in the dressing room. I went to him and said, Skipper, I'm sorry, but I will not take this from you again. He said, what do you mean? I said, this is not on. I said, you want me, I'm a batsman, I've been chosen as a batsman, I've come here. You want me to send me number 11 every match? That's your right to do. So you put me number 11, I will go and play whatever 11. But don't do what you did today to me again. From 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 to 8. I said, I will not take it from you. So he said, you know, I'm your captain. I said, yeah, I know. I'm fully aware of it. That's why I'm telling you. You can't talk to your captain like this. I said, I know I can't, but I am talking to you like this. I will not take it from you. Don't do this ever again. You don't want me to go until number 11. It's okay. I don't mind. But don't shift me. Each time one place. That was my final spat with him. Okay, it didn't do me any good because I continued to go back to number 8 and number 9. That is what I. But it's unfortunate. Those days, things were like that.
How did the standoff with Vijay Hazare affect your career? Did anyone face a similar problem in the team?
Ghulam Ahmed suffered the same kind of fate that I suffered. Anyway, we were there for 6 months, crying on each other's shoulder about our lost chances, about how we are being treated. Those days, the cricket season in England is from April to September. From September to March, they don't play cricket. We finished the tour and we came back here at the end of September. In November, they picked the Indian side to tour the West Indies from December. End of December to January. India was going for 3 months to the West Indies. And surprisingly, I was in that team to go to the West Indies. Ghulam was also in that team. When the team was announced, Ghulam rang me up from Hyderabad and said, oh, congrats, I see you are in the team to the West Indies. I said, I find you are also there, so fine. So he said to me, so what are you going to do? I said, Ghulam, what do you mean, what am I going to do? A chance of my lifetime for me to go to the West Indies. Of course I'm going. I'm not West Indies. I mean, those days, to go to the West Indies, you couldn't just go like that. And with the Indian team, I'm going. Of course I'm going. So he said, after all that happened in England, you still want to go? I said, I don't care. Even if I'm treated like a passenger, I'll go to the West Indies. I want to go to the West Indies. So I said, okay, but you're going, no? He said, no, I've got second thoughts about it. He said, you're a very funny fellow. How you cried on my shoulder in England. Now you're saying, with the same team, you want to go to the West Indies and you'll again go through the same thing. And by the time you finish in West Indies, you'll give up cricket. I said, come on, we'll have to go. How can we lose an opportunity like that to go there? So he said, Ghulam was much older than I was, you see. He said, you better think carefully about it. I said, anyway, what are you thinking? He said, I am not keen to go. I haven't definitely made up my mind. Because of what happened to both of us in England, think about it. I'll call you back in a week's time. Then we'll talk about it. So I thought about it and I realized what he was saying is very, very valid. I said, same thing is going to happen again there. And we'll be so frustrated that we won't be able to recover from that. So I didn't wait for a week. After 3 days, I called him and said, yeah, I've decided. He said, what? I'm not going. I said, what about you? He said, I'm also not going. And do you know, imagine, both of us turned down the invitation to go to the West Indies. We didn't go. So that was the kind of conditions under which you played there. The treatment you got from your side. Mind you, I've heard this before of other people like Amarnath. The Bombay people treated Amarnath, C.K. Naidu, all like this only. But okay, that was before my time. I didn't know. But Amarnath has told me many stories about that. Yeah, I know. When I was playing, Amarnath was a selector, so he would tell me. So that was we. You see, we had some of the greatest cricketers in the country, but we got nowhere because we never ever played as a team. For us, it was not Indian team. Everybody played for themselves or whatever it is, and they didn't like you, so they've got me run out. My batsman, my own side batsman, has got me run out, called me for a run when I was in the middle of a run. He says, no, stop. Finished. There was no pride that we should win a match. But some people should not get there, should not succeed. That was our psychic, Nothing could have done, you could do. You can't fight that. And I tried to fight it and I didn't get very far.
And later on, you went to Pakistan. How was it, sir?
Strangely, I don't know why, in 55, I was again, Ghulam and I were picked to go to Pakistan. That was the first tour after the partition. So by then, captains changed and all that sort of thing. So we said, we'll go. And for Pakistan, Amarnath was the manager of the team. So he was not like that because he didn't belong to this crowd. So both of us went for that. And okay, Pakistan, we had a fairly good tour. One test match, I made a top score with 40 odd and saved the match for India. I played one or two. No, I think I played 2 test matches or something like that. Pakistan tour was I wouldn't say. By then the people changed, players changed. Amarnath was manager. Vinoo Mankad was captain. The Bombay Maharashtrian people shifted. So we went. It was all right. Only thing about Pakistan was that no team ever in those days went to Pakistan and won a match. So we played 5 test matches. We drew all 5 test matches. There's not only us. England went there, they couldn't win a match. Nobody. Pakistan umpires were very patriotic. They made sure there is no way that any team is going to beat them. But I'll tell you something in that connection, that match that I was able to perform. It was a test match at Lahore. India was batting badly, poorly, so we're struggling to hang on. One of their off spinners had taken 5 wickets the previous evening, the last day of the match. We were in a bad way, and we went into play, and we found where that man had taken a few wickets, in the right spot, there's a big patch of wet wicket. Nowhere in Lahore had it rained. There was one spot, 6 feet by 8 feet or something, with a nice wet patch. So we said, what is it? How did it happen? Must have rained. I said, how can it rain? We don't know. There was no answer to the problem. So naturally, our captain said, no. Until that wet patch dries out, we can't bat. We are not going to bat. The Pakistan people said, we don't know how it happened. It could have been sweat red. It could have been this. It could have that. No, you'll have to play. And the laws of the game at that time said, if two captains disagree, the umpires will take the decision. So the umpires happily took a decision that the game will start 15 minutes late for that patch to dry. Then we had to go and bat. Luckily, the man who was taking those wickets was a slow bowler, spinner, to get the ball up. The only way I could tackle that was I went and stood in the wet patch. I left the crease, moved out, and stood in the wet patch so that no ball will pitch on the wet patch. If before it pitches, I can take it. If they bowled outside, I'll get back quickly. So I managed. I top scored 40 odd runs, managed to go through that wet patch drying and all that. Then, of course, finally we drew that match, so it was all right. Pakistan was very, very difficult. You could not play them in their home grounds.
And you were in the selection team. Heard you had a hand in selecting G. Vishwanath.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. When I was in the selection committee, Vijay Merchant was the chairman of the selection committee. And I was the selector from the south. And second match, or which I can't remember which match, some match, I saw Vishwanath play for South Zone in one of the regular matches. And I was extremely impressed with his batting. I felt, see, in batting, if you're watching, if you feel that the batsman has got a lot of time to play, that's a very good indication of how good the batsman is. Vishwanath was beautifully playing. So when I went to the at that time Vishwanath was not known, not recognized, nothing. So when I went to the selection for the Indian team, I mentioned this to the selectors at the time, that he played for Karnataka and this and that. So I said we should consider him for India. And Merchant was the chairman. Oh, but none of us ever seen him. So how can we, without seeing him, take him? So I said, but if none of you have seen him, it's not his fault. I'm telling you what I've seen. And I think he's a very good addition to the Indian team, a very sound batsman. Because you have not seen him, why should he suffer? I said, okay, I'll tell you what, the next test we pay, you invite him to come and play the nets with the Indian team. So you can see how he's playing. Okay, they said, all right, okay, we'll take your suggestion. They invited him for the next test, not as a player, but to come there and practice with the Indian team for them to see how his batting is, whatever it is. So Vishwanath came there and he batted very well. And then maybe that test he didn't get in, but the following test they agreed and they took him. That was played in Kanpur, the test match. And I remember this very well. First innings, got out for 0. I thought, oh my God. Now these chaps are, because he's also from the south, no? Second innings, he made 100. And that made him. And to me, he is a very good bat. I mean, he was like Gavaskar, a same class, and a lovely player, and a very, very nice chap, very decent chap.
So, lastly, what were the greatest lessons you learned, sir?
Well, as I said, cricket is a noble game. Why I say that is for two reasons. One is that any cricketer, no matter how great you are or how good you are, it does not indicate or it does not have a definite that you will always succeed. It's a cricket batting is a bit of a game of chance. If you're a good bat, of course you'll make a lot of runs. There's no doubt about it. But it doesn't guarantee you that every match you go, you'll make 100. It does not at all. And to me, two things happen. One is that, like I said, if you make 100, you think you're the greatest. You know all about batting. You made this 100. You're great. Next match, you go and play some unknown fellow, and he'll get you bowled the first ball you're facing, and suddenly you understand you are also vulnerable. You are also like every other person. It's not as though you're conquered batting. It brings you down to earth almost in seconds. Because having made 100 yesterday, making 0 today shows that you can't do it all the time and you can also get out for nothing. So I feel in life itself, if there's something that teaches you to be humble and not be very proud about your achievement or whatever, it teaches you how to be humble and how to take it. So that is why I say it gives you a sense of proportion, sense of morals. And the other thing about, the fabulous thing about cricket is, that is the one game that I think I can think of. You can play tennis, you can play this thing, you can play that. All other games gives you a second chance. In tennis, you can lose a whole set. You can come back and win the match. In most other games, you will have several chances of recovering from a bad performance. Cricket, if you're out, you're not even on the field, you're sitting in the pavilion. It doesn't give you a second chance. So I think it's a very unique game.
Thank you so much for joining with us here, sir.
Not at all, not at all. It was a pleasure meeting all of you, and I've poured my heart out to you for whatever. And to me, as I said, for me to have had such a long association with the game of cricket, which I call it the noble game, I should thank my stars and thank my destiny. Thank you.